Welcome to the GSMC Pets Podcast, the show that caters to pet lovers of all kinds. We'll talk about pets on social media, pets doing amazing things, and how to take care of the pets in your life. Whether your pet is a dog, a cat, a llama, hamster, reptile, or something more exotic, you'll find educational and entertaining information on the GSMC Pets Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GSMC Pet Podcast, the hidden gem of the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Taylor Cowan. Good to hear from you. You know, I'm going to be frank, folks. I didn't really prepare an episode today. I've been very busy. Back at work. Good for me, good for us, good for everyone, I believe. So today, we're gonna talk about some few things. I got some pet news pulled up here, pulled off on a whim, and some homemade pet food recipe. We'll see how that is. I've heard it's a lot more inexpensive than buying your dog regular food, and it's also healthier. So we'll see about that, though. We'll be the deciders of that. But first, diving into the episode. Which pet do you think you could fight? I got a list here of domesticated animals. And just because it's domesticated doesn't necessarily mean it's a pet. But we're going to scroll through this list and see which one of these we think we could win in a fight. So let's start with the classic, our friend the dog. It was domesticated in 13,000 BC. People use it for, hunting, herding, guarding, pest control, transportation, so on and so forth. I think it depends on the dog. I could definitely fight a corgi, but I would be a little more nervous fighting, say, a German Shepherd. The scariest of the dogs. I actually don't know if the German Shepherd is the scariest. Dobermans, I've always felt, were pretty intimidating, as well as, of course, the pit bull. I would never choose to get in a fight with a pit bull. It's got those jaws, alligator jaws. But a corgi I could fight for sure. Chihuahua, anything that's stands below my knee, I think I could fight. I honestly think the top dog I could fight and maybe win would be my own dog. And I'd still probably get pretty hurt. I don't think I'd feel very good afterwards, especially considering it's my dog. I'd feel bad about that. And then, I'd be all bloodied up and clawed. My dog can be pretty vicious. It bit a little girl once. He's a nice boy, trust me. So the dog, we'll do a scale of 1 to 10 here of how much I think I could fight it. And considering there are different breeds, I'm going to say chances of me winning are 7 out of 10. 70% of dog breeds I think I could win in a fight. What's next on the list here? We got a goat. That was domesticated in 10,000 BCE in Iran. The goat, again, depends on the goat. I'm going to say I'd have a 8 out of 10 chance of winning a goat in a fight. They've got these big horns, you see, some of them, and I think that could, end up hurting. But I think, the way they're only as tall as my waist. I'm 6 feet tall. So I could probably grab it by the horn and do some sort of twist, wrestle it to the ground. And then once it's on its back, I mean, you know, you might get kicked in the face with a hoof, but I think I'd have a pretty good chance. I'm going to say 8.5 out of 10 for me beating a goat in a fight. Next on the list, we have the domestic pig. Now, this one's iffy. I am going to say, let's see, it was domesticated in 9000 BCE, China, Western Asia. This one's tough, folks. Because pigs, what? How much does a pig weigh? Let's see if I can get if I can use my computer and get another screen up here. Let's see the average weight of a pig here, because I'm only about 200 pounds. They can be between 110 and 770 pounds. All right, there we go. I'm going to say, like a potbelly pig, I could win in a fight. But even, I had this pig in my backyard for a while, and he was kind of scary. He was small, but they bite. They'll bite. And I don't want it biting at my ankles. And they've got weird teeth, weird methy teeth. And yeah, I don't want one of these nibbling at my ankles. But a 770 pound, that's over. I've lost. It just charges me and then tramples me. And then, I don't know. I've always heard this thing that a good way to dispose of a body would just be feed it to pigs. I can't remember where I heard that, some movie. And they eat the bone. They eat the bone. No one even know I lost the fight, which I would prefer. I don't want anyone to know that I lose fights against pigs or that I fight pigs in the first place. I'm going to say 5 out of 10. You know what? Actually, I'm decreasing that 4 out of 10 chance of me winning a fight with a pig. And again, depends on the side. I could definitely fight a piglet. I could fight Babe or Wilbur from Charlotte's Web. But if we're talking a big, filthy, six-nippled pig, there's no way. There's no way. And so considering they weigh up to 770 pounds, I have to assume that most of them weigh more than 200 pounds. So that's not good. Probably couldn't beat a pig in a fight. A sheep. This is interesting. Sheeps were domesticated between 9000 BC and 8500 BC in Anatolia, Zagros Mountains. I think I could beat a sheep in a fight. Now, a ram, maybe there's a little different thing there because they also have those big horns and they're pretty heavy. How much does a sheep weigh? Let's find out. Because that's really what it comes down to is the weight. Well, it's like wrestlers do. You got to be in a weight class. You got to be up against even competitor, or it's not really fair. Weights. Give me some weight here. Characteristics. I'm having a hard time finding a weight in this. There's a lot of wordy. This is a wordy Wikipedia. Article. I'm going to say I could beat a sheep in a fight. They let children ride them at the rodeo, so, they can't be that dangerous. I think I'd feel guilty, though, fighting a sheep. They just seem so helpless and, I don't know, alone. I'm no wolf. I'm no wolf. Sheep, I'm going to give it let's see. I'm going to say an 8. An 8. I might have a harder time with a big sheep, but I feel like a sheep, you just flip it over. You just find a way to flip it over and you've won. And then it runs off. Runs him back to the hills, the fields. Cattle. All right. That's a... Do I get a weapon? Can I pick up a stick? I'm saying even with a stick. It might depend on the cow. A bull, it's over. Bulls, I am dead. I'm impaled on the streets of Madrid, bleeding onto the cobblestone rock. Dairy cow, however, I don't know. I mean, one kick to the face and you're in trouble. Oh, by the way, these are domesticated in 8,000 BCE in China and Western Asia. A lot of these are from China, Western Asia. The pig, the dog. Dog was China and Europe. So, yeah, but one kick to the face and it's party's over. I am going to say 4 out of 10 again, because they're so big. There's just no way. There's no way I could wrestle it to the ground. Even a stick, I think the stick would just anger it and it would just start bucking around, you know? Because I'm assuming a cow can buck like a bull unless it's got a huge hanging udder. Even then. And that's the thing, I don't want to get close to the udder. So that's a disadvantage to me. So yeah, 4 out of 10. Actually, 2 out of 10 that I win a cow in a fight. We're going to take a quick break here, folks. We got a big list of animals still to come that we'll see if I can fight them. So wish me luck. We'll be back in a second.
You really can't underestimate the importance of having the right creative work for your brand or your product. Whether it's a logo, a website, a book cover, or an ad campaign, you really need a quality design to make that big difference pop and deliver your overall engagement and success in a competitive market. That's where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd has over 750,000 designers from Sydney to San Francisco ready to help you with awesome creative ideas. They make crowdsourcing work for you. So if you need a logo or you're working on your creative branding, you can go to designcrowd.com and post a brief describing the design you need. And then within about 2 to 7 days, you'll receive up to over 100 different designs from designers around the world. Then you pick the best design and approve payment to the designer. So you're only paying for the design that you want. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of freelancing and out of crowdsourcing. And you don't have to be a huge company like Harvard Business School to use Design Crowd, although they have used it as well. You can start a project on Design Crowd for as little as $99. And if you go right now to designcrowd.com/health and wellness or enter the promo code health and wellness on their website, then our health and wellness listeners will receive up to $150 off of your design project. That's designcrowd.com/health and wellness or entering that promo code health and wellness.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
We're back, my friends. We just went through a few animals, see if I could fight them. Dog, goat, domestic pig, sheep. I think I could fight a goat and a dog and some pigs. And some sheep too, but the pig and the cow are the ones I don't know if it's going to happen. It might be a sad, trampled day. Face smashed into the dirt. Next is we're going to skip that one. No one knows what a zebu is. They're those one cows that walk around in India, those anorexic cows with the weird horns. And you don't fight cows in India, so they're off the list. Cat. Now, this is easy. 9 out of 10, I could beat a cat. But I will say a lot of damage would be done. I've got a cat sitting on my lap right now. Cat Stevens. The claws, the clawing. I've had my cat flip out once. We were walking down the street. I had him on a leash. Her on a leash. I forget they're women sometimes. Or female cats. They're not women. I had him on a leash, and this truck drove by, and it just flipped out and just clawed me all up. Like I was a tree, like she was running up a tree, and I was it. Not a fan of that. And so I don't think I would ever choose to fight a cat. But if I were to, 9 out of 10 chance is I win the fight. Honestly, just throw a bucket of water at it. You win. By the way, these were domesticated in 8,000 to 750 or 7,500 BCE in the Near East. That's kind of misleading. The domesticated in the Near East. So what? They were domesticated in the Morgan County? I don't get that. The Near East. Near to what? Someone's going to listen to that and think I'm really dumb, but I don't care. Next on the list is the chicken cock-a-doodle-doo. Yes. This was domesticated from the red jungle fowl in 6,000 BCE. India, Southeast Asia originally. Now they're all over the world. I could easily win one of these in a fight. Maybe like a large rooster would be tough. You know, they've got these big talons, and they flap their wings. They get up to your face, maybe. You might lose an eye. But I'm going to say 10 out of 10 I can win one of these in a fight. You just grab it, really. You know, and I wouldn't kill it. You just grab it and throw it. Easy as that. Next on the list is the guinea pig, domesticated in 5000 BCE from the Montane guinea pig in Peru. 10 out of 10. I could win one of these in a fight. Easy. You just kick it. All right, next on the list. Donkey. Now, this is domesticated from the Nubian wild ass and the Somali wild ass in 5000 BC in Egypt. Nubian wild ass is a cool name for a band or an album or something. I don't know. The donkey, ooh. I think this is a tough one. They make that noise, which would kind of intimidate me and distract me, you know, when they get all excited. And they like bare their teeth, which would kind of freak me out. And then they buck, which is the other thing, which is what I was worried about with the cow. One kick to the head, and then it's over, and then they just trample over you, and you wake up the next day in the rain in a pile of mud with a hoof-shaped bruise on your forehead. I don't know. And I honestly don't think... When's the last time I've seen a donkey? They're pretty big. They're pretty big. Is a donkey bigger than a mule? I can't remember, but I'm going to assume... Yes, it is bigger than a mule, and that... No, because the mule is a horse and a donkey. So that's probably bigger. It doesn't matter. The donkey... Oh, yeah, I think Shrek. That's what I got to think of, Shrek. Yeah, I don't think I could beat a donkey. It might be 50-50. I'm going to say 5 out of 10 that I could win a donkey in a fight. Again, maybe a stick. Maybe a stick would help. Maybe not. I don't think the donkey might just eat it. Next on the list, we have the domestic duck. Domesticated in 4000 BCE from the mallard, which I thought mallards were still around. I thought those were just the colorful ones. in China. China's doing patenting all these animals. Wow. Easily beat a duck in a fight. Easy. Quack, 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 quack. No, come on. The duck wouldn't stand a chance against me in a fight. A duck wouldn't stand a chance. Now, 10 to 15 ducks? I don't know. I don't know what the deal would be with those. But one duck, easy. They've got those long necks, grabbable necks. And again, this is all hypothetical. We're not hurting the duck. We're just fighting it and winning. 9 out of 10, I beat a duck. 10 out of 10, I beat a duck. 9 out of 10 if there's 10 to 15 ducks. Next on the list, another one that I should just skip over because you're never going to fight it, never going to encounter it. The water buffalo. Domesticated from the wild water buffalo. Wow, they did a lot of work coming up with that name, huh? In 4000 BCE, India, China, Philippines, where they're from. 0 chance of me winning a water buffalo in a fight. It's got huge horns. Huge rounded horns. It would just impale me and swing me off. And I'd land in the river, and then the gators would get me. Or the crocodiles, because that's where they're more around. Yeah, maybe I'll give myself a 1, at least. Maybe I have, access to fire. I can light a torch and swing it near its face and scare it off. But that's not really a fight, is it? You kind of have to wrestle it to the ground, which there's just no way. And all it eats is sticks and leaves. Let's do one more before we take our next break. Again, water buffalo, 1 out of 10. The guppy. No one knows. The date is uncertain when the guppy was domesticated, but is domesticated in Barbados, Brazil, Guyana, Mexico, El Salvador, Venezuela, South America, pretty much. And there's all sorts of guppies. There's the Cauca molly, the Amazon molly, the Salafin molly. You know what a guppy is, right? The little fish. And it's 10 out of 10 that I win that in a fight. I swallow it. We're going to take a quick break here, folks. Hang in there. Listen to the break. Listen to the messages that we are sending you. And we got more animal fights coming up in just a minute. I'll talk to you in a sec.
You really can't underestimate the importance of having the right creative work for your brand or your product. Whether it's a logo, a website, a book cover, or an ad campaign, you really need a quality design to make that big difference pop and deliver your overall engagement and success in a competitive market. That's where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd has over 750,000 designers from Sydney to San Francisco ready to help you with awesome creative ideas. They make crowdsourcing work for you. So if you need a logo or you're working on your creative branding, you can go to designcrowd.com and post a brief describing the design you need. And then within about 2 to 7 days, you'll receive up to over 100 different designs from designers around the world. Then you pick the best design and approve payment to the designer. So you're only paying for the design that you want. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of freelancing and out of crowdsourcing. And you don't have to be a huge company like Harvard Business School to use Design Crowd, although they have used it as well. You can start a project on Design Crowd for as little as $99. And if you go right now to designcrowd.com/health and wellness or enter the promo code health and wellness on their website, then our health and wellness listeners will receive up to $150 off of your design project. That's designcrowd.com/health and wellness or entering that promo code health and wellness.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
We're back. We're back, baby. This is the How Strong is Taylor, your valiant and handsome host episode. Next on the list, we just got past the guppy, which I would most certainly win in a fight. But this next competitor, not so certain. The next competitor is the dromedary camel, domesticated from Thomas's camel. Was that just a guy? Was that just a guy's camel? And he said, look, his babies, they're good. They're our friends now. And this is Thomas's camel. I don't know. 4000 BCE. So it was domesticated in Arabia. No way am I beating a camel in a fight. Let's just be honest. I'm being honest. I could say, I could win all these animals. I could be the tough guy. But I'm just trying to be straight up, truthful. There's no way I'm winning a camel in a fight. Have you seen how big a camel? Have you stood next to a camel? First it would spit in my eye and then just trample me. Easy as that. Maybe I could jump onto its hump and lock my arms around the hump and use the momentum of my weight to pull it over. But I'm not even going to look up how much a camel weighs. It's got to be at least 700 pounds. Or around there, 600 pounds or something. There's no way my weight could even take the camel down. Yeah, if you get behind it, it kicks you in the face. You get in front of it, it spits in your eye. There's just no way. 1 out of 10 chance of me beating a camel. Next on the list, the humpless camel, the horse. We don't know what extinct animal the wild horse came from, or the horse came from, but we'll just call it a wild horse. This Wikipedia saying possibly a tarpon, which who knows what that is. Domesticated in 3500 BC in Kazakhstan. Yes, Kazakhstan. No way am I beating a horse. Probably less chance than a camel because I don't have that hump I can grab onto. And there's no, you can't jump on its back or it bugs around. And I don't know how to use a lasso. And my neighbors have a horse right now, and its mouth can be intimidating. I've gone over there and fed it an apple before. And its mouth is those teeth that just, you hand some grass to it and it just starts chomping down on near your fist. It's a very scary thing. You got to let go, or it's going to pull you in. And it's almost pulled me in. I think it wanted to fight me. 1 out of 10 chance that I win a horse in a fight. What else we got here? Here we go. Domestic silk moth. Domesticated from the wild silk moth in 3000 BCE in China. Easy. Again, like the guppy, I just swallow it. 10 out of 10, win. Next. Domestic pigeon. This one's tough because they can fly. So, it's domesticated from the rock dove in 3000 BC in the Mediterranean basin. If it flew around and was able to I don't know how smart they are, but if it was able to like pick up little rocks and fly around and drop them on me, maybe it would have a chance. Or if it could do quick swoops and gouge out my eyes somehow, then maybe. But, if I get my hands on it, it's game over. I grab it, I throw it like a Hail Mary. So I'm going to say 10 out of 10. I beat I'll say 9 out of 10 in case, it's an extraordinarily smart pigeon and it can drop rocks on my head. 9 out of 10 that I defeat a domestic pigeon in a fight. Next on the list is the domestic goose. I've seen geese, and I've seen lots of videos of geese online, and I am having a hard time believing that they are in any way domestic. They seem kind of scary, to be quite frank. It was domesticated from the gray lag goose in 3000 BCE. I'm just going to say BC. We get era. All right. Domesticated in Egypt and China. If you can get it by the neck, they're very fast and they're very aggressive. They just come at you. I saw a video online a while back of a guy, he had a briefcase and the goose would not submit. It was just coming at him. So, and again, it has one of those intimidating sounds. So it starts honking at you. You get, what's the word? You're confused. You hear the honk. You turn around. All of a sudden, its big flapping wings are coming at you. I'm going to say 7.5 chance of me beating a goose in a fight. Just because I might turn tail and run out of fear. I'd probably have to sneak up on it. So there's that, 7.5 out of 10. Next on the list, we have the yak, domesticated from the wild yak in 2500 BC in Tibet and Nepal. And again, that's a no-go. That's a 0. I'll give myself a 1 just in case a miracle happens. Like, again, that I have a torch. But that's unlikely. And this should really be, we should have even odds. You on them. No weapons. It's a 1 out of 10. There's no way. It's huge. It's a yak. But I always picture yaks being very slow and kind of slovenly. So maybe I'd have a chance. Like a few good punches. I don't know if they kick around like a wild horse or a bull. Next on the list is the Bactrian camel. This is, same deal. I'm not even going to get into this one. I'll tell you it was domesticated in 2500 BC, but it's a camel. Now this one seems to have more humps. So maybe that could benefit me in some way. I don't know if its humps are, its weak spot. What is a camel's weak spot? I would guess the hump. They look weird and soft. I don't know. Once again, 1 out of 10. The llama. This one's interesting. We got another spitter here. Domesticated from the guanaco in 2400 BC. Peru and Bolivia. This is tough because I've seen llamas. They're not huge. They're bigger than me. And they will spit in your eye, which is, a distraction. You're blinded for a moment, and then it can, have its way with you. I'm going to say 5 out of 5. I feel if I didn't get kicked in the face, I don't know what their feet look like. If they have hooves or if they have some sort of paw. But I'm going to guess it's a hoof, so that makes the kick in the face pretty dangerous. I'm going to give myself 5 out of 10 on this one. Because I think I could get on its back and then take it to the ground. I could leap on its back. And then my heavy weight, I got to weigh at least half as much as a llama. I could maybe, use my weight to get it to the ground. I might break an arm in the process, break a leg. But as long as I can pin it, we're going to count that as a win for me. Folks, another break time. This is just flying by today. Quick break. We got lots more animals to come up. We might not even get to the homemade dog food today. I don't know if we'll have time to get to that because this is way more important. So talk to you in a second.
Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
All right. 5 out of 10 with the llama, as I said before. Right below the llama is the alpaca, domesticated from the vacuna. I think that's how you say that, in 2400 BC, Peru and Bolivia. I'm going to say 6 out of 10 with the alpaca. It's basically a wussier llama. It's a less strong, more cowardly, less weighted llama. Llamas have this curve to their head where their head's kind of cocked back, where it can get a better, probably more velocity on the spit, whereas the alpaca, its head's more forward. So the spit would kind of just flop out of its mouth. It would just kind of land on top of my head instead of blasting my eyes. So I'm going to say 7, actually. I'm changing it to 7 out of 10 that I could beat an alpaca in a fight. Next, the domestic guinea fowl from the West African guinea fowl, 2400 BC in Africa. This basically looks like a chicken. Let's look a little more into the domestic guinea fowl. Get a better picture here of what it is. It's like kind of looks like a chicken with a penguin's head. Or no, it looks more like a turkey. It's a small turkey. So 10 out of 10, I beat that in a fight. Again, just punt it. And again, folks, we don't abuse animals here at the Pet Podcast. This is all hypothetical. And it's good for you to know in case you ever, get accosted by a domestic guinea fowl. Next, the Fuegian dog. There's not even a real picture of this. It's a cartoon. That's just made up. Skip that one. Next, the ferret. Now, this one's tricky. It is domesticated from the European polecat. It's an apt name. It does kind of look like a pole. Like a weird, wobbly pole in an earthquake. 15,000 BCE, or 1500 BCE, I should say, in Europe. Now, I say this is tricky because ferrets kind of scare me. They're long, they're quick. I feel like I could just get up into my pant leg and then we're in trouble. And it's got little claws, little teeth. This might be a tough one. If I could get it, if I could grasp it, that's one thing. But I also feel like they're slippery, like it would just slip out of my fingers, slip out of my hands. This might be a 5 out of 5. This might be a pretty even match between me and a ferret. And once it gets on your, can it constrict? Can it constrict on your neck? I don't know. 5 out of 5 for the ferret. We got another duck here. we already did the duck. We don't need to go into ducks again. This is just a different kind of duck, and it looks basically exactly the same, except it has a faux hawk, so higher chance of me beating it. Barbary dove, domesticated from the African collared dove, 500 BC in North Africa. Now, Barbary makes it seem a little more intense, but I'm going to say 10 out of 10 I beat this. We'll say 9 out of 10 because, like the pigeon, I don't know if it can drop rocks, claw my eyes out through a quick swoop down. But more than likely, I could beat a dove in a fight. Pulling out of my sleeve. Baldy cattle. We might just skip this one because whoa, that's a weird looking thing. Maybe we're not going to skip this one. The Bali cattle, domesticated from the Javan Banteng in Southeast Asia and Bali. It kind of looks like a hippo cow, which actually female hippos are called cows. Oh, never mind. I just wasn't looking closely enough. It's just a cow. Again, with the cows. Probably can't beat it. 2 out of 10. I beat a Bali cattle. Seems to be a little more agile, so maybe even 1 out of 10. Next is the Gayal, and domesticated from the Gwar, date uncertain, Southeast Asia, Northeast India. There's no way. This is a 0 out of 10. This is our first 0 out of 10 on the list. I'm not even going to pretend I could beat this thing. Its horns are enormous. At least this one I'm looking at. And they're facing forward. That's the thing. My goodness. My God. My best bet would be it comes at me. So picture its horns. They jettison out of the side of its head and they just shoot forward. I'm trying to think of a good description here. It's hard. Like the ones you would see on the front of a car. You know, like a Texan's car, like a Texan's Cadillac, kind of like those horns, but way thicker. So if it came at me and I jumped, say it's coming at me head on, I jump, you look up a picture of this thing. I jump, I grab onto its horns, and I'm riding its head. And then somehow I twist my body, and the weight could maybe make him stumble or something, and then I hop off, throw a rock at it. I don't know. 0 out of 10. No way. The domestic turkey. Depends on the turkey, I'm going to say. It was domesticated from the South Mexican wild turkey in 180 current era. We are now in the current era, folks, in Mexico. Oh, I didn't know that turkey was Mexican. It just depends on the turkey. Like I could probably fight a female turkey. But those big ones with the weird face, I wouldn't want to touch its face. That's the thing. It's got the weird skin, that red and blue skin on its face. I wouldn't want to touch that. And that would make it very difficult for me to fight it. And then, yeah, it would like rub on me and be like, ew, gross. 7 out of 10. That I could fight a domestic and win. Just kind of gross out factor. And, you know, they're big. Goldfish. Domesticated from the wild goldfish, 300 CE to 400 CE in China. Not a chance, goldfish. Not a chance. Put it in a net. Just flick it with your finger. 10 out of 10, I beat a goldfish. Domestic rabbit. Domesticated from the Iberian rabbit in 600 CE in Europe. Now this one's tough because I could definitely win. But I don't think I'd get out of there unscathed. My girlfriend's family has a rabbit, and you try and pick it up, and it's just clawing around and kicking. It's got those hind legs. It kicks you. But still, that's a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 with some minor scathing. Geez, we're just flying through here. We're going to take another break. More animals to come. I think maybe we can get into something else in the last 10 minutes. The list is nearing its end. So hang in there, and I'll talk to you in just a moment.
The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Here we are. We are nearing the end of the list. Apparently, this list seems to be listed as like in order of when they were domesticated. Next on the list is the koi fish, domesticated from the armor carp in 11th century CE in Japan. What are these? These are glorified ornaments for a pond. You put them in a thing of water and just let them swim around. I don't know what would happen, with 40 of them, but 10 out of 10, I could beat a koi fish in a fight. The domestic canary, easy. Domesticated from the Atlantic canary in 15th century CE in the Canary Islands. Who would have thought? In Europe. Yeah. 10 out of 10. They're tiny. You just hold it. And you say no. Next, the society finch. Domesticated from the white-rumped munia. Oh, how about that? White-rumped. Domesticated in Japan. And the time was unknown, but around the early 18th century. We're getting pretty close to modern era here. Yeah, could beat that. It's got a pretty big beak, so there could be some danger there for eye peckage. But I'm going to say 9 out of 10. The fancy mouse and laboratory mouse. Why are they called fancy? Just because you can put it in your house? That sounds like a cop-out. Domesticated from the Western European house mouse. It's a fun name. In 11,000 BC in China. What? Oh, it was domesticated in 11,000 BC in China, and then 17th century CE in Europe. I see. 5 out of 10. I'm going to say it 5 out of 10 because I'd be kind of freaked out. I wouldn't want to touch it. Diseases and all, And that's the thing. I might beat it in the fight and then die later of a bubonic plague. So 5 out of 10. The fancy rat. That's a 4 out of 10 already. Don't even have to get into it. Domesticated from the brown rat in 19th century CE in the United Kingdom. Yeah, same deal. I might beat it in the fight, but it's got long-term after effects that it could beat me on, like diseases. Next on the list, domestic mink, domesticated from the American mink in 19th century CE, North America. I think we know what the answer is here, folks. I'm winning the mink in a fight. Actually, I don't know. It kind of looks vicious. Like there's a picture of it here, and it's got angry eyebrows and big hands. It seems like it could bite pretty hard. 7 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10. The domesticated red fox. Now, I've seen people with these in their house online, and they are very agile. So that could be a problem. It just bolts around the house, nips at my ankle. Bolts around the house, nips at my ankle. domesticated in the 1950s in the Soviet Union, Russia. And I've actually looked into that. It's kind of iffy. There's like a weird scientist who said he had domesticated it, but they're not officially domesticated. And you can get like the quote-unquote domesticated breed, but they're thousands and thousands of dollars, and they're very rare. 5.5 out of 10. Because they got really sharp needle teeth. That seem dangerous. And once it spills blood, then it gets into a rage. And it can't stop. So, yeah. What did I say? 5.5, 6.5? It doesn't matter. Next, we're getting close. 2 more creatures left, folks. We're in the 1980s now. The domestic hedgehog, also known as the four-toed hedgehog, domesticated in the 1980s. Best decade, I think. I wasn't alive, but possibly the best decade ever. 1980 CE, Central and Eastern Africa. Unless it rolls into its defensive ball, and then you just roll it down a hill or something. I don't know. I'm going to say 10 out of 10. I can beat a hedgehog, but I feel bad about it. They're too sweet. They're so sweet. Like the picture I'm looking at, it's in a flower pot, just curled up. I don't think I could do it. So maybe 1 out of 10, just because I would be like, I can't hurt you. So it's either a 9 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10. We'll have to see when the time comes. And finally, the last name on the list. I could go on. There's a whole nother list here of partially tamed animals, but it has like the American alligator on it, so that's stupid. It's not partially tamed. Whoever said that's a liar. It's because you can put it in a cage and hang meat over its face and it jumps up. Does not mean it's partially domesticated. All right? All right. Finally, the final list on the list of animals I might fight. The domestic skunk. Domesticated from the striped skunk in the 19th century North America. Whoo! It's got the spray. It's got the ultimate defense. What if I was going on a date later that night? I can't fight it. So that takes points away from my side. But it is small and cowardly, which adds points to my side. Wow, this is a tough one. What does it feel like when you get the spray in your eyes, is my question. Eyes are really my biggest weak spot. If you get something in my eyes, that's game over for me. And then how big are its claws? It can't really get me with its teeth. I don't imagine its teeth are very good. I think they eat vegetables. I don't know what they eat. What do they eat to make them smell like that? They have a special diet? Like some smell so bad, they just eat eggs. They eat hard-boiled eggs. I am going to say 7.3 for 1 that I could beat a skunk in a fight. And it all has to do with its spray accuracy. If it can get the spray in my eyes, if it can get the spray in my mouth, anywhere on my face. If it can aim it to my face, then we're in trouble, folks. That's the end of that list. We got one more break here. We got one more segment. We'll do some pet news. Some quick pet news before we head out for the day. I will talk to you in a brief sec.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Here we are, the final segment of today's pet podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I got some pet news pulled up here. That was a fun list, though, wasn't it? To see what kind of animals I think I could fight. But we got some pet news here, so let's see what we got here. Let's see. Kentucky police find that's depressing. Oh, this is interesting. North Carolina dog thought to be the first in U.S. confirmed to have coronavirus. It's a pug. I think there's a picture of a pug. And what is thought to be the U.S.'s first, a North Carolina family's dog was confirmed to have tested positive for the coronavirus this week. Dr. Heather McLean of Chapel Hill said her pug, Winston, had been experiencing mild symptoms in the days leading up to his diagnosis. So that seems really bad because, you know, what they say, if you got breathing problems, if you got pre-existing conditions, you're in trouble. The fact of the matter is being a pug is a pre-existing condition. Have you seen them breathe? It's like, I don't know, it's trying to suck air through a baseball glove. McLean, a pediatrician at Duke University in Durham, had herself already been diagnosed with COVID-19, the disease caused by the coronavirus, blah, 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 blah. It's boring. What is this? If you know pugs, you know they love to eat. Have you ever met a dog before? That's not like big news. Okay. Well, that pug has coronavirus. Would you look at that? Oh yeah, there's then the ones at the Bronx Zoo. I already did a thing on them. What else we got here? Homemade dog treats, boring. Man breaks coronavirus lockdown rules in the fishiest way. Oh, let's see what he did. I like this. One man's fishy attempt to circumvent Spain's strict coronavirus lockdown laws did not fool the police. The unnamed man took his pet fish out for a walk inside its bowl on the streets of Lograno earlier this week in an apparent bid to make the most of a rule that allows one person to leave the home with their pets so it can relieve itself. I think that's totally fair. I think he should be out walking his fish. And I don't care what the government has to say about it. Frankly, I don't care. But he's got his fish, and, you know, good for him. You know, whatever you got to do to get out of the house. But the cops stopped him, and, whoa, music, stop that. Cops stopped him, and, you know, he didn't get away with it, which is unfortunate. I'm on his side. I'm pro going out for a walk with your fish. Not that the fish cares. It's probably very disturbing, and the fish isn't ready to see our world. The fish wants to see the child's playroom and get overfed and die. Let's see. Stray cats in good health after having head freed from empty soup can. That's good. This is good. Hong Kong Customs seizes 26 tons of fins from 38,500 sharks. Yikes. Why are they doing that? Why are they cutting the fins off sharks and shipping them around the world? Probably some dumb reason, like, oh, it cures bone marrow disease. It's always some stupid reason. Well, lots of boxes. And how do you ship that? Oh, the world is insane today. The world is just insane today. I can't take it anymore. I can't even take it. What else we got here? Zoo Atlanta uses vulture puppet to care for a bird chick. That's fun. Mother bear rescues baby cubs in South Lake Tahoe. Oh, I love Tahoe. Never been there, but it seems nice. Oh, the bear swam in. The baby jumped on its back. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Well, that's nice. The bears lived, my friends, and that's what matters. Baby zoo penguins named after English hospitals helping to fight coronavirus pandemic. Okay. Yeah. They're all great. We all know. All hail the nurses. And then there's some goat pictures here and stuff. Maybe we got time? No, there's only 4 minutes left. Let's do another news story. millennial men pamper their pooches more than female dog owners. Of course they do. Of course they do. You know, quick rant before we finish the show. Pamper your pet all you want. But, you know, don't treat it like it's your child. It's not your child. It's a dog. You know? Feed it, give it toys, but don't hold it. Don't, like, put it in a bag and carry it around with you. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing. A survey from Volvo Car USA. What? Why is Volvo doing this survey? And the Harris poll shows that millennial-aged men, defined by Pew Research Center as those born between 1981 and 1996, I kind of wish I was out of that category, to be quite frank with you, are more likely to pamper their pets when compared to a female pet parent. According to the poll, 39% of male millennial pet owners have bought organic pet food, compared to 29% of millennial women and 27% of all pet owners surveyed. Men are also more likely to take their pets to daycare. Okay, so they buy them better food. That doesn't necessarily mean pampering. It's still dog food. You know, if you're feeding it steaks every night, that would be one thing. Men are also more likely to take their pets to daycare and to celebrate their furry friends' birthdays with a party. Don't have birthday parties for your dogs. No offense. Just don't do it. Get them a toy and say good boy. And they don't know. They don't care. You shouldn't even celebrate your own birthday after 30. After 30 years old. And really after 25. I stopped celebrating at 25. 25 was my last one. On my birthday now, I maybe get a few people together. But after 30, it's over. You're never going to celebrate my birthday again. You don't even know how old I am. Where were we? Take their pets to daycare because they got to go to work, baby. We're men. That was a little sexist. I'm sorry. No, we all work. We all work hard. However, there's one category in which millennial women beat out the men. Social media. Surprise. Surprise. Millennial women are more than twice as likely to start a social media account for their pet to share photos compared to overall pet owners. Well, what a amazing article that was, my friends. What an amazing and informative article we just read right there. Folks, we are at the end of today's Pet Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in if you're out there listening. I do these twice a week, so keep tuning in. And I'll keep sharing my wonderful thoughts about the world of pets. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on all of them. We're on all the big three, baby. All the ones you want. All the ones you're subscribed to. So tune in there and don't forget to go to Apple Music or wherever you're listening. Leave us a 5-star review. 5 stars. And make it wordy. Really let us know what you think. Let me know what you think. If you're listening right now, say specifically, hey, Taylor, this is what I think of you. And hopefully it's good. Preferably it's good. Folks, from the deepest abscesses of my heart, I thank you for listening to the GSMC Pet Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Taylor Cowan. I like you more than a friend. Good night.
You've been listening to the GSMC Pets Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast.